This past Sunday, we continued our series called The Battle Within, dealing with temptation, fighting temptation, going 12 rounds with temptation. And the thing we looked at this Sunday was a little bit harder for us to kind of, swallow the pill, but wasn't a good thing. And what we looked at was, can God really be trusted? Can God be trusted? Here in the United States, a lot of us, the way we live our lives is we trust God with things we have no control over, like our salvation. You see, when we die, we have no control over where you're going, okay? You have no control. When you die, boom, that is it. It's God time. And so we'll trust God with our salvation. But when it comes to like our money, when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to our possessions, we have a hard time trusting God. A lot of times we just tell God, you know what, you're not big enough to handle this. You see, a lot of us, we live in, if I don't have my hands on it, it's just not going to work. It's going to fail. I have to be involved. My hands have to be on it. It's about me, and I have to be doing this. If I don't do it, it won't get done, kind of thinking. And a lot of us, we struggle with this as Christians. We really struggle with this as Christians. Because you and I spend so much time just being consumed with stuff that we really don't give temptation much thought. And we go through it every day and we kind of just blow it off and just go through the motions. The question we really need to ask ourselves is, God, am I going to trust you? Or I'm going to handle things my way? Am I going to trust God, or I am just going to handle things my way? You see, we need to ask ourselves some questions. Can God meet this need? Can God meet this need? Whatever this need is at the moment, can God meet it? Is God big enough to address my loneliness? Is God big enough to address my need for acceptance? Is God big enough to meet my needs at school? Is God big enough to meet my needs financially? Is God big enough to meet my needs in my marriage? Is God big enough to meet whatever need there is I may come in contact with, I may have? Is God big enough? See, it all boils down to that right there. Can God handle it? And do we believe God can handle it? You see, what happens is when we don't trust, we don't obey. And when we don't obey, eventually we stop believing. You see, when you stop trusting, you stop obeying. And when you stop obeying, you eventually stop believing. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of people are today. They have stopped believing. They've stopped trusting God to handle their everyday temptations, their everyday situations. You and I really can't do anything. God is the one who gives us the ability. God is the one who gives us life, daily life, breath. But we like to think we're in control and we can handle it. And I challenge you to say this prayer every day. Say a prayer like this. You don't have to be word for word, but a prayer like this every day. It's just simply, God, I know before this day even gets started that I'm going to be tempted. Okay, you know that, I know that. I'm going to be tempted today. So God, before we even get there, God, I'm letting you know right now that I trust you and that I believe in you. And God, I'm trusting you and I believe in you that you will give me the ability to wait when I need to wait. So before we ever get there, before we ever go down that road, God, I just want to let you know, I'm just crying out to you today that I trust you. I want you to know that, God, that I trust you. And then just to continue to speak to your temptation when you're faced. Temptation, you're not going to steal my future, and you're not going to steal my faith. See, we need to stand up. We need to be bold. We need to be courageous. We need to be strong. And we need to not be afraid to throw that right hook. And temptation, you're not going to steal my future, and you're not going to steal my faith. Man, I hope you guys are getting something out of this series. I'm telling you, it's rocking my world. It's rocking my world, and I hope you're getting something from it. I can't wait to see you guys on Sunday and be ready for round 3 of the Battle Within. I'll see you guys on Sunday. I love you. You rock. Bye.